So yeah, so like we talked about last week, I've been doing some research on this, and basically, you know what I'm saying, scientists say that human beings have been around for 200,000 years. So Homo sapiens sapiens, what we are today, the original, you know what I'm saying, the black man, what we are today, because we were the first man on planet, what we are today has been on Earth for 200,000 years, right? So me being a historian or by train, you know what I'm saying, by degree, I'm saying I think about certain things in a certain way, right? So we follow human history, right? Let's just start where we at right now, right? Follow human history. So it's year 2017. We go back 2,000 years ago. We got the birth of Jesus and all, you know what I'm saying, those times with the Roman Empire, things like that. You go back another 2,000 years, we're talking about Kemet, Sumeria, you know, and those civilizations, you know what I'm saying? Those, we pretty much say the civilization started in Sumeria between the Tigris and Euphrates River. What happened to Banks? Hey, Banks, your joint drop. But yeah, we pretty much say civilization was founded, you know what I'm saying, between the Tigris and Euphrates River. And, you know what I'm saying, from there, that's where we gathered in cities. We started agriculture, all that stuff. And they pretty much date that to about 6,000 years ago, right? So before that, what were we doing, right? We're talking about over 100,000 years of us having the same minds we got today. So we're saying we could take a human being from 100,000 years ago, put him in this time, and he can think the same way that we think. You see what I'm saying? Now, he might not understand technology. He might not understand the aspects that we have, but if we took a baby and brought that baby into this time where it don't know anything, it could be able to learn and develop the same way that we could develop now, right? That's what they say. We had the same brain that they have then, right? It took us only 8,000 years or so to go from basic agriculture to flying airplanes and going into space, right? So what were we doing for? So you're trying to say for 100,000 years or more, 190,000 years, we was just cavemen? You know what I'm saying? We didn't have cities. We didn't have civilization. We wasn't growing our own food. We didn't have technology. That just don't make sense when you think about certain things logically, right? So research I've been doing lately has showed that civilization was founded at the tip of Africa. So if you go to Southern Africa, they said that the earliest civilizations, they found actual remnants of cities at the tip of Africa and South Africa. So it's a book by this dude named Michael Tellinger. He wrote a book called Temples of the African Gods. And basically they found old stone structures, buried in the ground. They found writings, pottery, all different types of stuff that dates almost 200,000 years ago, which pretty much disrupts the modern concept that we was cavemen in this time, whatever, or just didn't know what the hell was going on. We were not civilized, right? So the school of thought is that people are saying that there must have been, the Bible talks about a flood, right? It talks about a great flood. And not even just the Bible, but a lot of great other civilizations have a flood story. If you go to Sumeria, you talk about the Epic of Gilgamesh, and you know, a lot of different other stories from Native American cultures. The Aboriginals have a story about a flood. The Mayans, the Incas, all these different civilizations from all over the world have a story of a flood, right? So that's not unique to just Christianity. So apparently at some point in time, some sort of catastrophic event happened on the earth that erased human history. And what we talked about last time was that how they found, they say North America, for example. Let's use North America, for example, right? Well, matter of fact, let's start with, I'm gonna go with North America, then we're gonna go to the Finks. So North America, they say, used to be covered by a complete ice cap, like just like in Antarctica. It's a big ice cap. It used to be an ice cap covered. They think that a comet or a meteor or something hit the ice cap and caused a quick melt off of the ice. So immediately, something came from space, hit the ice cap, disintegrated the ice, and caused it to evaporate into the atmosphere, as well as cause floods on the North American continent. Imagine if so there was a civilization during this time that was advanced, because we have stories of Atlantis or Lemieux, all the different other ancient mythological civilizations that supposedly existed, they would have been completely wiped out. They said waves would have been over 1,000 feet high. So we're talking about the height of over, you know what I'm saying, 1,000 feet, a tsunami wave. So anything in that path is completely wiped out. There's nothing that's going to survive that. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to find any trace of anything. If you know what I'm saying, if New York City get hit by a 1,000-foot wave today, there is no more New York City. And you'll never know New York City was ever there because that thing is gone. You see what I'm saying? So imagine if that same thing happened 15 to 20,000 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So we think this is the first time we've been technologically advanced. Like we think this is the first time in human history that we reached this pinnacle where we at right now. But what if we reached? Yeah, but what if we reached this pinnacle several times? You see what I'm saying? If the human being's been on this planet 200,000 years of what we are in this modern form, and the equator and the poles have shifted several times, the climate has changed several times, you know what I'm saying? And it's just shown that it takes us between 15 to 20,000 years to get to this point. How many civilizations has there been? How many times have we reached this point? You see what I'm saying? That's
when you say reach this point, like the invention of the wheel, that could be like, you know what I'm saying, like a point. Not so. What point we talking about? Like this point right here. Like
this point right here. How many times have we reached this point right here or beyond? You see what I'm saying? How many times have we reached the point of not being a global species, because human beings is the only species on the planet that is global. We exist on every continent in the entire world. So how many times have we reached being a global species, not just concentrated on a continent of Africa, right? How many times have we reached become a technologically advanced species, right? Because they still don't know how they built the pyramids. They have no idea, right? So obviously, whoever built the pyramids, the previous humans, and not even just the pyramids, it's hundreds of stone structures around the planet that they have no idea how they were built, right? So that gives them the fact that these people were more technologically advanced than we are, because there's no way in hell, it's already been proven that motherfuckers ain't pulled them shits with no damn rope and pulleys. And like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you have stone blocks that weigh 2,000 tons, 2,000 tons and more. There's a stone, right? This cut the cake for me right here. There is a stone. It's a you know, like the Washington Monument in DC, right?
Yeah.
That is several different layers of blocks, right? There is one solid piece of stone in Egypt, right? The damn thing weighs 1,000,000 tons. That's 2,000 pounds times 1,000,000. So a damn thing weighs 1,000,000 tons, right? It's one solid piece. It's not cut up into blocks. It's one solid piece. And we talking about they picked this joint up and stood it straight up in the air by pulling on it. How much manpower is required to lift something that weigh over 1,000,000 pounds? How much manpower is required to do that? It's not in sections. It's one solid block. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, to chime in, so basically what you believe is, you believe that everything that we have right now, well, not that you believe, but you're raising the question that everything that we have right now in our present, this laptop, this cell phone, this light, this furniture I sit on, it's just been destroyed before, basically.
Not in this form. So they might not have had laptops in this form, right? But they had some form of technology. And here's another thing. I can get deep into this, man. Here's another thing, right? So what is computer chips made of? What's the number one component in computer chips? I'll tell y'all, it's silicone, right? Silicone is the number one element in computer chips. That's why they call it Silicon Valley in California, right? Because that's where they make all the technology at, right? What do you think is the number one element in stone? Silicone. So what if you see the stone, you see the writings on the pyramid, right? And it's etched in stone because stone lasts forever, right? What if they're also is a computer program etched on the pyramids. So what if the writing could actually be read by a computer? It is actually digitally encoded like a computer chip. So what if they stored all their knowledge and information in stone, just like we store it on computer chips today, and we just lack the technology to read it off the stone because it's made from the same exact element? That's deep, right? That's deep. That's deep. That's because it's made from the same thing. It's made from the same element. So technically, we could store the rocks in Stonehenge, in Egypt, in Sumeria. Could store. We talk about data like gigabytes and terabytes. It could store knowledge of 1,000 years of human history encoded into the stone, and we just don't have the technology to read it yet. But it could be stored in the stone.
This is why some people are raising the debate that some people can read actually Kemet Metuneta, and some people are saying that the Metuneta cannot be deciphered. It cannot be read. So when you have these hieroglyphs that's embedded and that's actually put into the pyramid, some of this language that's actually there is made symbolically or put there as a hieroglyph or as a language to be translated to those given a message that we really have not discovered yet, basically. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this could raise another question to like, what if there is a specific amount of knowledge that's out there floating or out there on the pyramids that can open up a gateway to the next dimension? Open up the gateway to something that we have not figured out, because we still can't even figure out the goddamn. We still can't even figure out how the pyramids was created and how it was actually put here. So we can't even get the basic information and the basic understanding how it was made. There's no way in hell that we're going to be able to understand the language on it to get the blueprint to basically understand who created it and what is its purpose. It has to be a purpose. Everything is created for a purpose. You don't make something that sculptures with that much symbolism and that much in the science, that pinpoint accurate for nothing. It's put here for a reason. And either there's certain people who know this information, a selective handful, and refuse to reveal it, but they're using it to their advantage economically.
I don't even think it's economically. I don't even think it's economically. And I can get into that too. So, all right, that's like part of my point is that I honestly think that human beings have been created and destroyed several times. A few of us have been allowed to live, and I don't know. We want to say if it was the creator, we want to say it was God, or maybe it was just natural events occurring on the earth. But our civilizations have been wiped out several times, right? At some point in time, the earth hits the reset button, and it will do it again. You see what I'm saying? It will do it again. At some point in time, the poles will switch, whatever it may be. The earth gonna go through some crazy shit, and we gonna get wiped the fuck out. And maybe a couple thousand of us might survive somewhere and start this shit the fuck over. And we'll, you know what I'm saying? They might develop, and then they'll come and they'll find our cities or some of the shit that we built and be like, what the, you know what I'm saying? What was this? There was a great civilization before us.
So basically, what you're saying is that global warming and all of this stuff has already existed prior before years ago.
Not even global warming. I think is that we have reached this is not the first time we've reached this pinnacle. I think right now we at a crossroads, right? As far as a human evolution and civilization, right? This is the first time in our knowledge that we've reached the ability to A, get to the stars, B, feed everyone. We actually have a global whatchamacallit where we can actually feed every single person on the planet. We don't do it because money is involved, right?
Yeah.
But we actually have the ability to create a utopia where everyone can eat, where everyone can have housing. But we choose not to do that based off of capitalism and all the other shit because we just fucked up. Now we're not gonna get into the people and why that stuff exists, right? Because I think the same people that is hiding the knowledge. So like you said There's people out there that might know the knowledge. I think the same people that is hiding this knowledge, right, is also the same people that enforces the systems on this planet that we have of capitalism, of materialistic society that we have. Because if you find out the truth, if we find out the truth about our existence and why we was here and then what our ancestors tried to convey to us, right, about what it means to be human and why we actually here, then those things don't matter no more. You no longer live your whole life in pursuit of trying to get a better car or a better job or, you know what I'm saying, or a better house. Those things no longer matter. You see what I'm saying? Those things no longer matter to you because now you know why you're here. See, most of us live on this rock and have no idea why we here. We just living every day following the systems that was put in place for us because there is no choice. You got to eat. You see what I'm saying? You got to feed your family. You see what I'm saying? So you stuck in the wheel. You can't, it's no escaping it. You got to do what you got to do because everybody else around you is doing it. But if everybody else woke up at the same time, if we all receive some sort of information that say, hey, this shit is wrong. This is not the way you're supposed to be living your life. We're not supposed to be occupying on this planet, doing it this way, then the system no longer works. The matrix falls apart. You see what I'm saying? So if, like I said, if that knowledge does exist, they don't want shit like this to get out there that this ain't the first time we've been here. That are, you know what I'm saying? Or this ain't the first time we reached this point because now the idea of why we here people start to change the way they thinking. You see what I'm saying? And you don't want people to not decide they want to be a part of the system because you got several people that make money and control the world based off the system. You have several families that are in absolute power because they control everyone based off the system. And it's not even the money that they control. See, money is an object that they use to control us. To them, money has no value to them at all. Money has zero value to people that control us. It's only used to control us. The elite utilizes money to manipulate and to deceive, pretty much. And by doing that, you can control anybody. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because you put a certain value on a particular put a value on a particular monetarized object or system, and then people will fall into it, and now you brainwash motherfuckers to believe in something that doesn't really exist. You brainwash them to believe in things that's not real. You put a value on money, on a piece of paper, but the real things that matter is what they really control. So the real things like land, access to resources, you see what I'm saying? Those things is what they actually control, but they flip a piece of paper to you as if it has real value when the value does not lie. There's no value in the paper. Knowledge, for example, they hide knowledge from you on purpose. That's the real values in knowledge, education, and understanding. But they put paper as if it has a value to your life, which is why no matter how rich some people get, they never find happiness, right? And no matter how rich people get, they never find happiness, right? Like, and you can be broke. I could be broke. You know what I'm saying? We can be broke as fuck and then hit it for $1 billion. And you be happy for a minute, like, yes, I no longer got to struggle again. But you still lonely or you still upset because money does not fill the void because that's not what you was put here to do. We were not put on this planet just to make money because that has no real value. It's fake. It's not real. It's not real. Life is based upon transparency and tangibility, meaning something that's in front of you that you can actually grab and touch whenever you want to touch and feel it. It has to be there, and it's transparent. It's evident. When I walk outside, I will see the same tree or the same grass every day. It's something that's meaningful. It's something that's tangible. It has a certain meaning and purpose. I can utilize it for certain things, and it can utilize me. Money can disappear. It can be evaporated. It can erase much. You won't have any control over it. It won't have any control over you. Yep. But the thought process of it is what is used to actually control you and control your mentality, which essentially that ultimately becomes your demise. And so, you 100%. And you live every day in pursuit of it. You see what I'm saying? Like the The most simplest people on this planet are the happiest. You can go to places in the Amazon, you can go to places like Fiji, you can go to real remote places where people still live indigenous, where they have zero concept of money, and they are the happiest people in the world.
The happiest people on this earth.
They're the happiest people in this world. Their life is simple.
And their lifespan is the longest.
They don't have all these computers. They don't drive all these cars. They don't have none of this shit that's supposedly supposed to make our lives better, make us connect and be more happier. They don't have any of this shit. But they have much better quality of life than we have. Because that shit don't matter. That tells you for all the technology that we have, for all of the houses, the cars, all that bullshit don't mean nothing. It means something because that's what we was raised into. You see what I'm saying? And it was taught to us that these things have value, but they don't. Like, people can't even, right now, we having a webcast, we talking, we interacting. Most people can't even look another person in the eye and have a conversation. Like, these kids that are growing up now, don't even know what it means to approach a woman and tell you like her. They got shit that you can swipe, and I'm only 30. So I ain't even that old, and I already recognize that shit about to be a problem where motherfuckers don't even know how to interact interpersonally with people. Don't even know how to have basic conversations. You see what I'm saying? Don't even know how to have basic conversations. They don't even know what it means to be human, which is like, because of shit that's supposedly supposed to make our lives better. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when you look at the breakdown and you evaluate the social dichotomy that we live in, and that people do lack basic interpersonal communication skills, essentially we live in a digital era where we've essentially evolved and become technology zombies.
Yep.
They mean that we don't have any type of face-to-face capabilities. We don't know how to function, talk. We're not able to see. We're not conscious about our surroundings as far as what's going on around us. Everything that we do and we live in this uncomfortable, or this shell that's already been created around us, and now we become so lost to the point where we get around people, like you say, we have no interaction skills, which essentially it rubs off on our children. Our children become less sociable. At one point in time, people lived in a village. A village was a village, something that everybody took care of, everybody that was around in that particular village. You had your mother, you had your father, but you had other surrogate mothers and fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And people interacted with one another basically the way you're supposed to be doing. The way that, like we talked about last week, King, the way that you were designed to be pre-coded to do. Right. Humans are the only creatures that's on this earth that don't live by a certain what am I looking for, King?
We don't live by a certain innate biological code which tell us what to do. So we looking for instructions about what we supposed to do in our day-to-day life. Everything else is born.
But really instinctively, the structure in which we're supposed to live is already there.
It's already there. And that brings me this brings me to my other point right here, right? Because I think that what you touched on some really good points, right, about the way we live and used to live in the village, right? But the last thing I would say is that we're missing, and it's also, I feel like it's to bring this full circle about where civilization used to be and where we're going, right? The other thing that we are completely out of touch with nature. Most of us don't know anything about nature. So we done lived in cities and stuff our whole life, but don't know we completely out of touch with, like, when is the last time, like, you've been taught that it's dirty, right? To put your feet in the dirt, like to take your shoes and socks off and actually let your feet touch the dirt, right? Like, you actually that's actually good for you. Like, they have already shown that it releases chemicals in your brain when you actually put your bare feet in grass or in the dirt. It's like putting your roots into the ground. Your body loves when you do that. That's why you see a lot of white people walking barefooted. See, white people getting hip to the shit that we lost on some real shit. White people go out into the wood. No, this is real. White people go out into the woods. They go hunting. They go on nature trips, but they go out into the wilderness for 4 or 5 weeks and get away from technology and get back in touch with nature. They started to wake up and get hip. We still on that nut shit where they learned this stuff from us. You see what I'm saying? but they stay hip.
Yeah.
I worked in this. I be at work. White people can't wait to take their shoes off. They walk around the office barefoot.
Yeah.
Barefoot.
And then we see these motherfuckers. Listen, and then we see these motherfuckers and they walking around with the bare foot on the sidewalks and cement, and then you look at their feet, like look at the dirty ass feet, like and you look at it and you be like, yo, this shit retarded. Really from a factual standpoint,
they doing right. They doing right. They doing essentially what they're supposed to, because really, to be honest, that's based off their history. They were barefooted. They were Neanderthal people in the Caucasus Hills and the Caucasus Mountains. So essentially, that was a part of their. That's a part of their history. That's a part of their nature, is to be barefooted. For us, it's a part of our history too, though. Let's not be biased. It's a part of human. It's part of human makeup. That's what I'm saying. When you get out of touch with nature, we got to get back in touch with nature as well. We got to get back in touch with our nature as well.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is, we need to be barefooted in a tropical aspect, in a tropical native land, like based off, because that's what we supposed, like the rocks, all those things, aspects like that. Because really, to be honest, you're right, King. Our feet, the underneath of our feet, it is designed. The material of it is designed. That's built for the walk outside.
Yep.
Like, as you get used to being barefooted,
your feet toughen up.
Your feet will toughen up. It will come so strong to where you can walk on slate stones and it wouldn't cut that motherfucker.
Yep.
Trust me, I know. My dad said he grew up his whole life till he became 14, 15, barefooted. They couldn't even afford shoes in the country.
Yep.
So, and I look at his feet now, and his feet look rough as a motherfucker, but them feet were built for that.
Yep.
Like, feet is not supposed to be built to look pretty, to look fashionable.
They're not supposed to be soft. They're not supposed to be soft.
Exactly.
They're not supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? They're not supposed to.
Man, it's so many biological aspects that we've gotten away from when it comes to human evolution over time. And I will be one of the first to say it. I do think as time has gone over, I think we are essentially, when you factor in all of the components in which you're supposed to be living from an indigenous standpoint, we have become completely out of sync and out of tune with what our ancestors used to do. I think the direction that we're moving in, it has some advantages, but if you look at it, it doesn't. I mean, look at our lifespan. Our lifespan has shortened. When you look at the history of the ancestors back in the day, these people lived to be almost 200, 300 years. This is what they were supposed to reported to live like.
So they supposed to live 600, 700 years old, reports.
Because they lived stress-free. Their bodies were built to handle the environmental structures in which they were living in. Right now, cancer and autoimmune sicknesses and diseases is such an alarming event, an alarming rate. Our lifespan for our generation, people that's in their 20s and 30s, is the first generation that's not supposed to outlive their mother's generation. That's a scary aspect of when you look at it. Yeah, because meaning that the average lifespan of our mothers and fathers right now is supposed to be between 65 to 70, maybe 75.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to eclipse past 55 to 60, if that.
Yeah.
My dad is 55 years old. That means that based on the medical diagnosis of what's going on from a consensus standpoint, motherfuckers is catching high blood pressure in 20s. They're on high blood pressure medication in their 20s. Type 2 diabetes has become the norm, because everybody has it, just because they're either obese or their diets consist of so many sugars.
Too many sugars.
Glucose levels are so high that they end up catching type 2 diabetes based on their diet. Autoimmune diseases have become the new cancer. And what I mean by the new cancer is, when cancer pretty much got discovered, now you have so many different types of cancer. Autoimmune diseases now are becoming more accustomed because of the way of living. At one point in time, people thought autoimmune disease was based on something that was hereditary or something that was pretty much designed or created with time, that was passed off the malignancy of the cells. Now autoimmune diseases, niggas are catching lupus. Lupus used to be a specific gender-oriented disease, meaning that females were the 90% of the people that catch lupus. Now those percentages have decreased. You have roughly about females are now at between 60 to 70%, meaning that 30 to 40% of males now are getting lupus.
Yeah, I know two people. I know two people that caught lupus.
Why? Because of their nutritional breakdown. To wrap this up and put this all into what the connection we're talking about is that we've gotten so much away from our science, our health, our nutrition. We've gotten so much away from the key, essential, basic elements that the ancestors left for us to utilize and do. That yes, we have become dumbed down as a motherfucking civilization. Yes, because we've gotten so far away from instinctively what we're supposed to be doing as humans. We've now created a path in which we live that is the path is so destructional, off track to where, like Keem said, I don't see how this is going to sustain over time as time evolves. And we continue as a human civilization the way we are right now. I can't see it. And I can't see it happen.
I'm gonna say this, and I think when I say I think in our lifetime, right, we're gonna reach a critical point in our lifetime. I can't say when it's gonna be, right, but technology is developing at a point where each year it's doubling. I forgot what it's actually called, but it's at an exponential growth where each year the computer that you got this year is doubled in strength by the time you get there next year, right? So that technology is doubling. They're also developing what is called, artificial intelligence or AI, right? So at some point, but at the same time, we are pumping so many pollutants into the air, into the water, into the food. We are so disconnected as far as what it means for us to be human. You see what I'm saying? Based off the global elite and the people who control us, that we are going to reach a critical point where something got to give. Right, and this is where I think, where I say I think we've been here before, where I feel like we're gonna reach this point, and either we're gonna overcome it and take the next step in what it means to be human and to transcend. And I don't know what that means, because honestly, I don't think, based off who controls the world now, that is ever gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? I think the only way that's gonna happen is if, indigenous folks and black and brown people get back in control or get back in with some recognition. Whereas if certain nations in the world need to become free again, Africa needs to become free again and stop being dependent on European power. We'll stop being dependent on or being controlled by European powers and shit like that. So a lot of things need to happen. But we at a point where if those things don't happen, right, then I don't think we're going to be able to make the next leap into whatever, we're supposed to be a pinnacle in human history. And before that, the earth might just hit the reset button because we fucking shit up. They projected within 20 to 30 years, 20 to 40 years, that Miami's going to be underneath water if we don't do something about what we're doing. Miami going to be underneath the ocean. The tip of Miami, so Florida going to be down there underneath the earth. Within the next 30, that's in our lifetime. You see what I'm saying? So if you live in Miami right now, you might want to hit the road. You see what I'm saying? We don't do something. And you got a president right now who's rolling back regulations on environmental protections. You see what I'm saying? You got a country, in China, that pumps out more pollution than all the other countries damn near combined, right? So
that's crazy.
So the shit is going. They already proven that the ocean levels are rising. This has been one of the, in our lifetime, this has been one of the mildest winters I've ever seen. We barely got any snow this year. Barely. It's been mild. Like, honestly, we almost like we living in Southern California at this point, because it don't get no colder than 30 degrees no more on the East Coast. 35. This shit, like, this shit. So what's going to be in 30 years? 30 years, it might be 60 in motherfucking February.
Exactly.
You might be able to grow oranges in February in motherfucking New York.
Right, things have shifted and transitioned so much over time, man. Like from as far as what the earth has done and our environment with the earth, is that you're right. The motherfucking reset button probably is coming real near.
Like I'm telling you, and it sounds crazy, but the reset button is there because we're actually a parasitic function to the earth. We're parasitic. I mean, we're the only creatures that exist outside of nature. We try to control nature. We destroy nature. We destroy other species in nature. You see what I'm saying? And the earth, and if the earth is a big living, breathing organism, like our body is a living, breathing organism, right? And whenever our body catches a virus, it creates a storm inside of you, right? It creates a storm, right? With antibodies that kills whatever it is that's in you. So the earth is a big organism, which we have already been proven the earth is alive, right? And we, the virus, eventually is going to create that storm. You see what I'm saying? And it got little mini storms now. You know, they've got little mini hurricanes and earthquakes and shit like that. But eventually, it's going to create that big storm that's going to get us the fuck up out of here and start over. I'm telling you, because we don't know how to act, man. We don't know how to act. But yeah,
pretty much we're gonna wrap it up right there, man. Pretty much to go from there, we got a couple things that we want to touch bases on as far as subject matter next week, and to for those who want to view in. And go ahead, King. You pretty much chime that in and let the viewers know.
Okay. Yeah. So for next week, it was something that I want to look into. Everybody's next week gonna be good, man. So please come back next week. I wanted to get into pedophilia in politics. I've been found out about some deep shit going on within the, the political realm, where you have a lot of these. I mean, it's not even, and it's been proven. It's just the mainstream media just not putting it out there. But I've heard stories of the Clintons funding sex rings and kidnapping children from Haiti and other different parts of third world countries. This is cat named Podesta, who, remember, I don't know if you guys remember that pizza thing that was going on where the dude drove up to DC and pulled a gun on in the pizza shop. And saying they was doing shit with kids. He had an AK. Yeah. Well, he did that because the dude that owned the pizza shop is a well-known homosexual and pedophile, has been proven to have these sex parties where they've actually found coded emails where they're talking about having kids in the hot tubs and they're going to have a good time and all this different type of stuff. And and he's been associated with Trump. He's been associated with Clinton, and all these different other people, and it's crazy, man. Like you said, DC you got all these missing girls and stuff, and missing kids going missing in DC. And then we got the sex trafficking and organ stealing going on as well. So there's a lot of funky stuff, man, going on that I've been doing research on. I'm gonna have some more research on it next week. But I'm saying, tune back in. We're gonna definitely talk about that. And we're gonna break that down.
What we may end up doing is we may end up tying that in, and then also putting in another funky split. Because like this week, for example, as you can see, what we did is we did the Kendrick Lamar, and then we got into some a little bit more deeper aspect of social consciousness, as far as make you think outside the bubble. And that's the biggest thing about our discussion panel going forward is we don't want to be limited to one specific subject matter, man. We talk about various different things, and we want to be unorthodox with it too, because that keeps people off their on their toes in all aspects, and you don't be limited to one particular social structure in which we're going to be talking about, man. And that gives us a certain level of diversity as well.
And it's natural. I think it's natural too, because it's natural to talk about one thing. I mean, more than one thing. So you want to sit here and we just talk about hip hop, be hip hop heads. I mean, we can talk about everything. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, for the most part, man, SK, I appreciate you coming through with us this week, man. Hopefully, you can come back next week. I'm gonna try to get some more brothers to tune in at the bottom as well, man, and be able to build with us more. So I appreciate you coming through, man, as a guest appearance tonight, man. Much love for that, dog.
Yeah.
And for those who viewed tonight live, I appreciate you watching us, man. We here every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Like I said, we still in the beginning stages right now, man. But this is something that we're gonna be doing going forward. Something we're gonna take serious.
And let them know next. Oh, my bad. And let them know next week we going live from the new page.
We're going live from Black Men Discuss page.
Yeah.
Yes. So pretty much that's gonna be the page going forward. This week we use mine because we had some technical difficulties. But the Black Men Discuss page is going to be the main page that we're going to put all the content and the webcast on, so you can go back and watch it. This week, if you want to watch this week one, it's going to be uploaded after I stop the broadcast, as well as the previous two that we did last week. Check it out. Subscribe to Black Men Discuss. We want to get as many subscribers as we can and get this page promoted, as well as subscribe to my personal page right here, which is Street Columnist, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Next week we come back with some more fire. And man, I appreciate, y'all investing time into us this evening, man. And we look forward to it next week, man. All right.
All right. Peace, family.
All right, bro. All right. Peace, man.